Hey there. Ready to explore a corner of the world that's rarely made into real estate portfolios? We're talking Ethiopia, a country taking, a bold leap, opening up its real estate market to foreign investors for the first time ever. You've sent over some really compelling articles on this, and I'm eager to dig into the why now and the what next.
It's a fascinating case study, yeah.
Yeah.
You see, for decades, owning land in Ethiopia, I mean, it wasn't even a possibility, not even for individuals. It was all state ownership.
Yeah.
This change is a complete 180, making Ethiopia stand out, from other emerging markets.
Yeah, it's like the rule book was thrown out the window, and now everyone's scrambling to figure out the new game. One article even went as far as calling it, a potential game changer, especially for attracting foreign investment, sparking a construction boom, the works. But is that maybe too optimistic? I mean, should investors be like whipping out their checkbooks just yet?
Well, let's just say a healthy dose of caution is never a bad thing.
Right.
The the African Investor article brought up Ethiopia's past economic volatility. Think back to the currency devaluation in the early
Oh,
2000s.
yeah.
That kind of instability makes investors understandably nervous.
Yeah.
And while the opportunity is definitely there, let's not call it a ground floor situation just yet. Prices in Addis Ababa, the capital, are already sky high.
So not exactly the Wild West of real estate then. I can't help but wonder about affordability for the everyday Ethiopian, with all this new demand.
That is a major concern. Imagine a surge of foreign investors driving up property values, making it even tougher for locals to afford,
Yeah.
to afford a place to live. The government it's like walking a tightrope here.
Yeah.
They need to find ways to manage this influx of investment without, pushing its citizens out of the market.
It's like trying to juggle flaming torches while riding a unicycle on a tightrope, right?
Yeah, something like that.
So let's say someone listening is thinking, Ethiopia? Intriguing. What's the first thing they need to understand before even thinking about dipping their toes into these waters? One article mentioned the legal framework, but honestly, that always feels like, I'm about to doze off in a law school lecture.
Yeah, it might sound dry, but it's absolutely crucial. This is where your articles complement each other so well. The African Investor article, it really brought home the fact that even with this landmark change, you're not actually, you're not buying land outright. You're leasing it. You're leasing it from the state.
Oh,
That's a
interesting.
huge difference for investors used to, to owning their piece of the pie.
And I imagine that, even with these efforts to attract foreign investment, there's still a lot of uncertainty about how these regulations will actually like play out in the real world.
Exactly. Think of it like this. You're trying to assemble a puzzle, but some of the pieces are still being made, and the picture on the box keeps changing.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Will these new policies be stable and predictable in the long run? That's the million-dollar question for investors.
Right.
And let's not forget competition. Business Insider Africa's coverage highlighted that Ethiopia's new openness is attracting a lot of interest.
Yep.
This isn't, some undiscovered country with zero competition.
Right.
So early movers might have an edge,
Yeah.
but it's not a free-for-all just yet.
So we've got this really fascinating situation where Ethiopia is essentially saying, come on in, the water's fine, but there's still this air of swim at your own risk.
Exactly. It's like dipping your toes into a lagoon, You can see the shimmering potential, but you're also aware, like, there might be a crocodile lurking beneath the surface.
Yeah.
But um, beyond the investor perspective, what does this shift mean you know, for everyday Ethiopians?
Okay. So let's talk about the people actually living and working in Ethiopia. Will this influx of foreign investment, will it improve their lives, or is there a risk that it could make things, tougher for the average family?
That's the million burr question, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a complex issue. On one hand, the potential for economic growth is undeniable. Think about it. Increased foreign investment could lead to more jobs,
Yeah.
higher incomes, and those much needed improvements to roads, schools, even hospitals. These are all things that,
Yeah.
that could benefit everyone.
Right. But I imagine there's also a concern that those benefits won't won't reach everyone equally.
Absolutely. Imagine a young family in Addis Ababa
Hmm.
trying to buy their first home. Suddenly, foreign investors they're snapping up properties left and right,
Mm.
driving prices through the roof.
Yeah.
It becomes a case of like location, location, priced out of the nation.
It's heartbreaking to think about families, getting pushed further and further away from
Yeah.
economic opportunities, priced out of their own communities.
Right.
And it's not just housing, is it? If this leads to a surge in the cost of living, I mean across the board, groceries, transportation, school supplies, it's those families living paycheck to paycheck who are going to feel the squeeze the most.
Precisely. And that's where, the government's role, it becomes absolutely critical.
Yeah.
They have a responsibility to ensure this isn't just a windfall for foreign investors,
Yeah.
but a tide that lifts all boats.
Okay, so what can they actually do? I mean, if you were advising the Ethiopian government, what would a responsible approach to managing this influx of investment, what would that look like?
Well, for starters, they need to put affordable housing,
Right.
front and center. Not just talking about it, but actually setting aside land specifically for affordable housing projects.
Yeah.
And it's not just about building apartments. It's about creating pathways for Ethiopians to afford those apartments,
Right.
whether through subsidies, tax breaks for developers who are building affordable units, or even, exploring rent control measures.
It's about giving people, a fighting chance to participate in this growth, not just becoming spectators in their own neighborhoods.
Exactly. And it's not just about, bricks and mortar either. They need to invest in education and job training programs. Let's say a new factory opens up, thanks to foreign investment. Great. But are Ethiopians, are they equipped
Yeah.
with the skills to fill those jobs? It's about, making sure the local workforce is ready to benefit from these opportunities.
So it's about like creating this feedback loop where foreign investment leads to better opportunities for Ethiopians, which then attracts more investment and fuels further growth.
You got it. It's a long game, not a quick win.
So how do we measure the success of this move? In 5, 10 years, what are the signs we should be looking for to determine if this has been a positive development for Ethiopia?
That's the question, isn't it? It can't just be about, shiny new buildings or impressive GDP growth. It has to be about, about people's lives.
We'll dive deeper into those metrics of success right after this. Don't go anywhere. All right, so we're back talking about, Ethiopia's future and how we can measure the true impact of opening up their real estate market. It strikes me that it can't just be about the numbers,
Yeah.
about GDP growth or how many skyscrapers are popping up in Addis Ababa.
Exactly. Yeah. It's about the people. 5, 10 years down the line, are Ethiopians genuinely better off?
Right.
Do they have more opportunities? Is their quality of life improving? Those are the questions that really matter.
So let's get specific. What are the concrete signs of success we should be looking for? What does a win for everyday Ethiopians actually look like?
Housing's always a good place to start.
Sure.
Are there more affordable housing options available? Has the gap between, what people earn and what it costs to rent or buy a home,
Hmm.
has that narrowed?
Right.
Because if it's gotten even tougher for the average family to keep a roof over their heads, that's a red flag.
It's about more than just having a place to live, though, right? It's
Yeah.
about the quality of that life.
Yeah.
Has this investment translated into like better infrastructure? Are the roads better? Public transportation more reliable? Are there more schools and hospitals? Those are the kinds of tangible improvements
Yeah.
that make a real difference in people's daily lives.
Absolutely, yeah. But it goes deeper than that too. We need to look at, economic empowerment. Are more Ethiopians working? Are they earning more? Are they lifting themselves out of poverty? And are those good jobs going to Ethiopians, or are they, are they primarily benefiting foreign workers?
Right. It can't just be a case of, a rising tide lifts all yachts. It's got to reach the folks on the shore too.
Exactly. And to really gauge that, I think we need to zoom in on a few key areas. Are there programs in place to
Right.
support small businesses and entrepreneurs? Are women and marginalized communities participating in and benefiting from this economic growth?
It's about making sure nobody gets left behind. And I imagine education, plays a huge role in all of this.
Education is absolutely critical. It's the foundation for long-term success. So are more Ethiopian children, I mean, boys and girls, are they getting a quality education? Are they graduating from school or university with the skills they need to thrive in a global economy?
Because ultimately, that's what will determine whether this experiment is a true success story. It's not, it's not just about attracting foreign investment. It's about empowering Ethiopians to shape their own future.
Couldn't have said it better myself. We've got to remember that the real test of this policy shift, it won't be measured in the next financial quarter,
Yeah.
but in the decades to come.
Well, there you have it, a deep dive into Ethiopia's bold move to open up its real estate market. We've explored the potential benefits, the risk, and the crucial question of who benefits in the long run as this story unfolds. Keep your eyes on Ethiopia because the lessons learned here could have ripple effects far, far beyond its borders. Thanks for joining us.